State regime media known as Fox is in free fall as it tries to brainwash its audience into not blaming Donald Trump on the economic collapse that is now taking place. Bond markets are collapsing. The dollar is crashing. The 10 and 30-year treasury yields are rising to levels that we haven't seen in quite some time. Now, state regime media known as Fox wants to blame it on former President Biden. Let's deconstruct the propaganda machine that is Fox, aka state regime media, and show you what they were doing last night, for example. So Laura Ingraham devoted basically her entire show to blaming the economic collapse on former President Biden. She brings on people who masquerade as economic specialists, and they say, yeah, well, we actually can see that the Atlanta Federal Reserve predicts GDP contraction in Q1, but obviously that's because of former President Biden. Yeah, that's why. Here, play this clip.
Well, first of all, it means President Trump and his administration are doing what they ran on, and the people voted for it. And so they understand that he's executing what he said he's going to do. Now, I think if it gets out of control at some point, things can change. And there are some things looming and coming up, like the GDP now forecast from the Atlanta Fed, which is usually deadly accurate. They say we're going to have a 2.5 point negative GDP. But that will be for the first quarter, and that will be mostly on the last administration, not this administration. But right now, he's in good shape.
You know, you see how they say it with this degree of certainty and they present themselves as though they're experts. You know, here on the MeidasTouch network, we come with receipts and we want to provide you with objective data. So let's look at what the Atlanta Federal Reserve actually predicted and projected previously before Donald Trump imposed tariffs against the world and then took them off and put them on and took them off and put them on, then raised the tariffs against China to 145% and created an effective tariff rate when you blend the entire world together. Now it's somewhere around 25%. Take a look right here. Originally, if Donald Trump did nothing and just let former President Biden's economy go on overdrive where there was GDP growth quarter after quarter, we were expecting 3.9% GDP growth in Q1 under Donald Trump. Then Donald Trump started messing with things and it was lowered to 2.3%, but still growth. Donald Trump started messing with things and then the Atlanta Federal Reserve projected a 2.8% contraction, or negative 2.8% GDP. And now they projected negative 3.7% GDP, or somewhere between negative 3.7% GDP and negative 2.8% GDP. Those are the facts. That's the objective data. Had Trump done nothing, he could have taken credit for former President Biden's economy and gotten like 4% GDP growth. He crashed it. And you can see it right there in the chart, how he crashed it. That's why you got to fact check what they say. Then Laura Ingraham continued this theme. Trump's fixing Biden's chaos. And watch what they do. Look at the Chiron. They always try to flip what's really happening into their dystopian Orwellian framing. Play this clip.
Trump's trying to clean up Biden's chaos, and it ain't easy. And on top of that, Trump's trying to reset the American economy after decades of economic chaos forced on our working class. Of course, the media's understanding of all of this is very limited, and frankly, at times sounds pretty condescending.
So then Fox brings on Donald Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, who's basically the Trump version, I think a more ridiculous version of Pink Dress Lady, the chief propagandist for North Korea. As we wrote on the MeidasTouch network account, I'm not sure if this is or isn't a real picture. I'm just joking. It's not a real picture, but it could be a real picture. There's so much good news flowing out of this administration every day. It's hard for the media to keep up with. There are wins after wins every single week. By the way, that's actually what she said. She went on Sean Hannity's show, and here's what she said. Let's play the clip.
First term. So trust in President Trump. He knows what he's doing. This is a proven economic formula.
What is he asking of Americans at this time? He talked about transition costs, transition problems. Is he asking something specific for Americans to do?
No, I think the president is asking for Americans trust in Trump, as I just said, trust in his economic agenda and formula. It's a proven formula that works. And by the way, clearly American people do in fact trust him because they did just overwhelmingly elect him to this office. Jennifer.
Here she she is again. Let's play this clip right here of Caroline Leavitt saying everyone's a rock star. Win after win. Everything's so great. Here, play this clip.
The president invited the press into the meeting where he went around the table and instructed each and every one of his cabinet secretaries to provide an honest update about what they are doing at their respective agencies. And every cabinet secretary is a rock star. They are passionate about the issues they are leading on, and they are delivering on exactly what President Trump called upon them to do. There is so much good news flowing out of this administration every day. It's definitely hard for the media to keep up with.
I mean, it's absolutely outrageous, right?
You know, maybe you started your business because it was your passion, but then somehow you found yourself deep in spreadsheets, payroll forms, and onboarding emails. Sound familiar? That's exactly how we felt running this podcast and the Midas Touch network. Nobody's an expert in every area, especially when it comes to HR. That's why we are so excited about Bamboo HR, an all-in-one solution that actually gives you your time back to focus on what you love most, growing your business. Bamboo HR is a powerful yet flexible all-in-one HR solution for your growing business. Stop wasting hours on payroll, time tracking, benefits, or performance management. Bamboo HR cuts those hours down to minutes. They've also got amazing hiring and onboarding tools that streamline the process and create better first days for your new hires. Over 34,000 companies trust Bamboo HR because it's not just powerful, it's super easy to use, easy to learn, easy to implement, and easy to love. Seriously, take a couple minutes to check out the free demo and see just how nimble and affordable it is. I can't recommend Bamboo HR enough. Check it out for yourself with a free demo at bamboohr.com/free demo. That's bamboohr.com/free demo. bamboohr.com/free demo.
And then Sean Hannity, who again, why I call it state regime media is that they are an arm of the regime, right? That's what Fox is. So Sean Hannity gets his message from the regime and he's fed the talking point to feed to Caroline Leavitt. And that's what he does. He goes, I hear you're doing a deal and this is going to be a great deal. Here, play this clip.
That as a result of the president saying it's either going to be free or fair trade or reciprocal tariffs, they all want to come to the table. They all want a deal. And I'm told that deal number one is close to being finished. Is that true?
Mm-hmm. It is true. We believe that there could be several deals very soon. More than 75 countries have reached out to the administration. More than 15 offers are on the table. And the president's trade team and the president himself are working very hard to negotiate tailor-made trade deals with every country that has reached out. No other president has had the courage to fully use the leverage of the United States of America, not just our economic might, but our military and national security might as well. And
again, so utterly pathetic. I'm going to show you one more clip of Caroline Leavitt, and then I will not show you any others right now because I can't tolerate it, but I got to fact check it. I got to show you what they're doing right here. Here, Caroline Leavitt's like, our phones are ringing off the hook as countries are calling us. Play this clip.
And now the rest of the world is calling our administration. The phones are ringing off the hook because they need the United States of America, not just our economy and our market, but they need us to continue providing peace around this world. And they know that they are indebted to us for the stability that we have provided in their own countries for decades. And the president has made that very clear, that the American people are finally going to have the front seat at the table. And thank God for it.
Remember what Donald Trump said, why he's doing this? He said he was doing this because he wants countries to kiss his ass. Remember, that's what he said when he was speaking before the National Republican Congressional Committee, the NRCC. Remember, he was doing that dinner and he goes, everyone's calling me to kiss my ass. That's what this is all about. The authoritarian playbook. Break the economic order down, create disorder, create suffering here, make corporations beg you for exemptions, make people beg you for breadcrumbs and handouts, make the world come and beg you. But I'll tell you what's happening. The resistance and opposition here in the United States is growing. Corporate America is getting very pissed at Donald Trump finally, and we're seeing countries across the world unite with each other, forming alliances that isolate and alienate the United States, viewing the U.S. as this pariah state, a weirder version of North Korea that still has a lot of economic power based on its history, but is volatile. That's why you see the 10 and 30-year Treasury yields going up. Our notes are not worth a lot anymore like they used to, because people see it's an incredibly volatile market based on the whims of an authoritarian leader in Donald Trump, and an idiot one at that. Sorry. Kayleigh McEnany right here, Donald Trump's former press secretary. She is a host on Fox. And again, this is the type of North Korea style crap that you see. Play this clip.
That China was taking advantage of us. And look at where we are. We finally have someone in the White House saying enough is enough. And it happens to be the guy who authored The Art of the Deal. I'm going to peg my money on the guy authoring The Art of the Deal. And to Mark Levin's point, he said maybe this will be a great reset, like when we took down the Soviet Union during the Reagan years and we did it economically. Maybe to Mark Levin's point, that is what Donald Trump is doing economically with China. I'm going to put my money on The Art of the Deal guy. And good job, everyone.
And then on that same morning show, they then have all of their hosts glaze Elon Musk. Where's the thank you? We should be praising him. Please, let's thank him. This is crazier than what you see in North Korea. Let me reflect on that. It's crazier. Play this clip.
Cheryl, talk to me about the attention that the left is placing on what seems to me a misplaced target. So they're obsessed now with getting Elon Musk out of there after the 130 days that you can only work per 365. With no attention paid to the astronomical figures I read, the ridiculousness of who we've been paying in the form of waste, fraud, and abuse. Why is there no attention on that and a thank you given to Elon Musk?
How about a thank you for the transparency that he and the Doge team have put out there? You can go onto the website right now. They've got a live tracker for Doge, and it shows dollar per dollar how much they have saved the American taxpayer. That is you, America. This is volunteer work being done by the world's richest man.
And then they criticize Governor Walz for criticizing Elon Musk. The audacity. How do you criticize Elon Musk, one of our dear leaders as well? Here, play this clip.
Yes. Which is the audacity of Governor Walz to single out Elon Musk as like a bad billionaire. When we talk about contributions to society, he's done nothing but help this society, medical developments, rescuing astronauts, and more. And yet George Soros, for example, a billionaire that has led directly to the destruction of society, deaths, and yet that's who Walz is calling to demonize?
And then they bring on Jameson Greer. Jameson Greer is the top U.S. trade representative, and he's asked this question about, the question is, they say tariffs are going to cost the American household $4,800. What do you say to those households that are now going to be taxed because Trump's tariffs are taxes? Here's what Jameson Greer says. Here, play this clip.
Companies. But in the meantime, they say it's going to cost the American household $4,800. What do you say to those households?
Well, first of all, I would say with respect to those projections, a lot of those are Wall Street analysts who have a lot to lose themselves. In the first term, we put a lot of tariffs on China, and we saw similar predictions. Those ended up being wrong. Inflation went down. I think the economic fundamentals of our country are still very, very good. And while there may be an adjustment, I think we're going to be on a good path, and I don't think we're going to see that level of increase in household expenses.
Yeah, I know a lot of countries are still at 10%. So many of those products maybe we can buy from other countries.
And by the way, that data comes from the Yale Budget Lab. It doesn't come from Wall Street. It comes from the Yale Budget Lab, which, by the way, if you watch some of the other videos I've done, that's one of the reasons they attack Yale. Fake data, fake news, everything's fake. You can't believe anything other than what dear leader Donald Trump says. But by the way, Jameson Greer, if tariffs are great, then why are you pausing some of them? If tariffs are bad, then why are you still implementing some of them? There's no consistency at all because there's no even ideology. It's honestly that Donald Trump is a malignant, narcissistic head case, and he's got issues and he doesn't know what he's doing. And they're entertaining the whims of like a crazy person who's out there just thinking about his own ego and how it's going to benefit him. And he's like, oh, maybe I can make money if it dips. Maybe I should say buy and then go high. It's based on nothing but sheer lunacy and Donald Trump's greed to enrich himself. That's it. That's the motivation. It's the lunacy of his greed, his desire to have people kiss his ass, and lunacy. Anyway, let me know what you think. I wanted to break that down for you. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
New Midas merch drop. Check out the latest pro-democracy sticker packs, t-shirts, hats, sweatshirts, and more, all at store.MeidasTouch.com.